Hi everyone, I hope you're fine, and in this video I'm going to show you my first snowy watercolor landscapes. And it comes from this photo, and in this photo I went skiing with some friends of mine. It was something like during just before the pandemic. It was in Val d'Isère, so if you don't know where Val d'Isère is, I can show you here. Yeah. This is the map of France here, and Val d'Isère is just here. So we went right from Paris till Val d'Isère here. It took us like 10 hours of travel by car. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. But anyway, it was really fun because it was with friends of mine. One of my friends, she took this picture. And the thing is that when I looked at it first, I told myself, wow, this landscape is so beautiful. But I've never done a snow watercolor landscape. So when I looked at this topic, I wondered, how am I going to do this fog here? How am I going to render this light here? And really, in terms of color, everything seemed so gray. Here it's gray. Here it's gray, so I had no idea how I could turn this picture into a watercolor landscape. So anyway, I decided to give it a try, and here is the video I took from this watercolor. And thing is that it's a time-lapse video, so it's only 30 seconds, but in the end, I think that it took me something like 1 hour and a half in order to complete this painting. But I can walk you through the process. At first, I start with a light wash, and then here you can see I turn the painting around in order to have the dark values here on the top of this painting. And then I realized, wow, this painting is so light. Here, if you look at the photo, I realized that the painting is quite bright actually. So when I tried to paint it, I didn't put enough pigments, and the paper was completely wet. So then I decided, okay, I think I have to add some pigment. So I added some pigment, and as you can see, it's gray pigment because the photo is gray. So I decided to put some gray pigment, and then I started to add more pigment and more pigment, but the pigments were moving on the paper, so it was a nightmare to keep the light in the center. But then, okay, I managed to make this first wash, and here is the first wash finished. And then when I looked at it, I told myself, whoa, this is quite bright still. I don't think that I will be able to render this foggy mood, this foggy atmosphere. So I decided to give it another try, to add another wash on top of the first one, and this time I added so much pigment. This was the second wash finished, and I was quite happy with this one. I decided to do the last part, which is the mountain in the foreground, and here is the final painting. So yeah, from this photo, I ended up with this painting. Here it is. And in the end, it turned out to be quite fine. I was quite happy with this painting. And in fact, I was so happy with it that I decided to show it during one of my exhibitions. And it ended up that this painting has been sold during this exhibition. So I was so proud of it. It was sold. So from that painting, the three things I learned is, first is that snow equals cold colors. I had to put more blue, and if you look at the reference photo here, you can see that actually this part it's quite blue. Also this part it's quite blue. This part is a little bit warmer, but still it's cold. So yes, what I learned is that if I have a snowy landscape, I'd better choose some cold colors. The second point is that I was so afraid of doing this painting because I've never done that, and I didn't know how it will come out. But what I learned from this painting is that you should commit first, even if you don't know exactly how you're gonna do that. And then commit first and then figure out the how. So this is so important because oftentimes we prevent ourselves from even starting because we are so afraid that, okay, we don't know exactly how I'm going to do the first wash and the second wash and which color I'm going to choose. Yeah, just commit first. Tell yourself, I'm going to do that. Start to tape the paper on your board. And when I started to do that, I didn't have the choice but to start. And as long as you know the basics like color mixing or how to mix color and water, then you're good to go. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose here. In this lesson, I learned that it's not only watercolor related, it's life related. There are so many things in life that we don't allow even ourselves to start doing. But in the end, if we just commit, then if we trust ourselves in being able to figure out the how, you will figure out the how yourself. And even if it's not perfect, it's fine. And this is my third point. Because if you look at this painting, if you see where it is, it's in my kitchen. It wasn't a permanent studio. It's just temporary studio and it was okay. I knew that I would be only in this kitchen for 1 or 2 hours and it was fine. Just start with what you have. And if you see, if you look here, you can see the garbage. Here, yeah, okay, this one. Here you can see there are some oranges. And even the light, it's a crappy light here. It didn't render the true color of what I had on the paper. And it was okay with that. So that's why my third point here is try your best with what you have. You don't need to wait for the perfect time, the perfect environment, the perfect materials, the perfect conditions. You don't need that. You already have so much in you that you can start and you can make wonders out of it. So that's why even if this first snowy landscape was my first one, still I'm very proud of it. And this kind of experience, it's invaluable in terms of self-esteem, in terms of confidence, because it conditions you into, okay, when I try something, I think that I can do something out of it, even if the perfect conditions are not met. So I hope that you find this video helpful. If you want to know more about how you can improve your watercolor skills, you have a link in the description below, and see you next time.